My name is Lisa Hice with Lisa Hice Ministries. Welcome. Hey, today is part two of talking about your finances, panic or peace. If you missed out on yesterday's blog, head over to my website, which is www.lisahice.com. On that blog, I talk a ton about your finances, learning to find peace in the panic of finances. I talk a little bit about what it means and what to do during this time of with the COVID-19. So many people are struggling with financial grief and financial losses, job losses, and what that grief, and I talk a little bit about the comfort during this time of financial losses. And I also talk a little bit about, I begin the season of just finding peace during this time and learning to trust God. So if you haven't heard or read that one, check it out, www.lisaheist.com. But today I want to talk to you guys how I learned to trust God in regards to finances. If you missed the story yesterday, but today I will share it again. But I know a lot of what you guys are going through in regards to finances. Like I said in my blog, I went from a six-figure income job one day to the next day being jobless, being unemployed. I also working in finance at another time in my life. I was employed, and the next I was not. I was laid off, and it really was humbling and really challenging. And I understand that kind of like that fear and that freak out and just, oh my goodness, how am I going to pay my bills? What am I going to do? But over the last several years, I've had to really go deep in regards to how to trust God. My income and my industry has changed. I went from 14 years in the financial industry to basically working in healthcare and ministry. And with that comes a lot of financial changes, going from up here to down here. So I've had to really trust God in regards to my finances, trusting that the Lord will provide for my needs. I've really had to humble myself in regards to how I spend my money, budgeting and being frugal and learning to really spend my money wisely. But today I want to talk to you guys about trusting God, and I'm going to give you guys a ton of resources. So stay tuned in regards to resources in regards to handle finances and some of the tips that I learned in working in the financial industry. So that's at the end of this video. So stay tuned. So question for you. If you are in a place where you have kind of had that freak out, that panic mode, how am I going to pay the rent that's due just in a few days on the first of the month, or how am I going to pay that mortgage payment? That is something that it's normal to kind of have that like panic, but we want to turn that panic and turn it into peace, but also a place to have faith and put our trust in a good, loving God that wants to provide for you or resources in regards to this time for help. Um, During the times when I was losing my job, I had to, like I said, I had to change my financial income and financial changes. And so I want to share with you guys just a quick story in regards to trust, but also another way of how I've learned to trust God. I'm going to share the Bible verse in regards to Jesus feeding the 5,000. I was going really deep into regards to this miracle, this story, and it's really eye-opening of how God provided when there were so many people out there that were hungry, that were in need, that were struggling, they were suffering. When Jesus asked these disciples to follow him, to go with him, to walk alongside them as they were going out and sharing the gospel, he told them, don't bring anything with you. Don't even bring food, don't bring anything. And what that meant was those disciples had to fully trust God in regards to their needs. And if you don't know the story, but basically it's a story of how Jesus feeds 5,000 people. Um, and I'm going to read it real quick. It's Matthew 14:13 through 21. And it says, now when Jesus heard about John, he withdrew from there in a boat to a secluded place by himself. And when the people heard of this, they followed him 1 foot from the cities. Well, he went ashore, he saw a large crowd and felt compassion for them and healed their sick. There's so many people out there right now that are struggling, that are suffering, that are sick, but God has a God of comfort that wants to come near to you. But when it was evening, the disciples came to him and said, "This place is desolate, and the hour is already late. To send the crowds away, that they may go into the villages and buy food for themselves." But Jesus said to them, "They do not need to go away. Who give them something to eat?" They said to him, "We have here only 5 loaves and 2 fishes." And he said, "Bring them here to me." Ordering the people to sit down on the grass, he took the 5 loaves and the 2 fishes, and looking up towards heaven, he blessed the food and breaking the loaves, and he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the crowds. And they all ate and were satisfied. They picked up what was left over of the broken pieces, 12 full baskets. There were about 5,000 men who ate, beside women and children. And so this story just reveals that, you guys, that there is a great God out there that can provide for all of us that are in need, that are struggling, that are suffering, that are hurting, that he has compassion on you, that he is trustworthy for your needs. Sometimes that does mean that we have to ask for help, that we have to seek others, seek the church, seek resources. But and most importantly, ask, pray, seek, and ask for help. I wanted to share with you guys something that I have done over the last couple years. Uh, Going from, again, 6 figure income to very, very more reduced income, I have had to go so deep in regards to trusting God with my finances, trusting God that He's going to provide for my basic needs. Anyone that knows me knows that I love to pray. And so I do what's called a prayer journal. I have taken this up probably about the last 5 to 7 years or so. And I will tell you, it has been so exciting to see how God provided not only for myself, but provided for others in crazy ways. Just miracles happening of just in large and small ways of just blessings, answered prayers in regards to healings and sick, relationships being restored. So just this is my little prayer list that I do every month. First of the month, I just collect and kind of sometimes I flip over to the next month, but I write down my prayers and my praises every month, and it is an opportunity for me to write them down, but also to reflect back to see how faithful and trustworthy God has been over the last so many years. When I've asked, when I've needed money for car work, if I needed money for rent or new housing, or some just even a want, something I wanted for fun, I've got to see how God provided. Sometimes God says yes, sometimes God says not yet, and sometimes God even says no. But take time to pray. Ask God for your help, for your needs. He wants to come to you and provide for you. So I talk a little bit about that in my blog, just how I've come to trust God. I add in a ton of Bible verses, a ton of books and resources on how to find that peace versus panic. But I will tell you, prayers is huge. Asking God for help, believing and trusting in faith that He will provide for you, and reaching out for resources. So I'm going to talk to you guys just quickly in regards to just some of the resources that are out there in regards to the finances. I know that so many people right now, like I said, are unemployed. They don't know how they're going to pay their bills. They're kind of freaking out. But and some of the ways that I that are really helpful, just working in finance for 14 years, I do know that banks want to work with you. Your credit card companies, they want to work with you. If you are even in back taxes, call the IRS. They want to work with you. There's payment arrangements. I know right now, like personally, I have student loans from going back to school. They are working with us in regards to our student loans. They have payment arrangements, they have payment plans, they will work with you in regards to interest. If you have back payments that you haven't maybe made for a long time, or you haven't done your taxes in several years. Work with them. The biggest thing is to reach out. There's such a sometimes this like fear of dealing with finances, you guys, and the best thing you can do is to actually work with them, work with the banks. I did a lot with a certain bank, and with people that were in 60, 90, 120 days late with payments. I did everything from underwriting to loan, learning how to do loan forgiveness, people that were struggling with bankruptcies and short sales and all of that. And so, you guys, the biggest thing, work with your banks, work with your credit companies. They want to help you in regards to that stuff. It's amazing. Even the IRS, they will work with you in regards to payment plans. If you have back taxes, um, one of the best resources that I can say that has been really helpful to me in regards to kind of learning new ways of dealing with finances and changing how I utilize my money. I did the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace class. A lot of people probably know Dave Ramsey. He's great. But check out his class or check out his books. He has a lot of resources on how to budget. He has an online system on budgeting, but it's really helpful. Right now, you guys, take it's kind of like this little box. What is important right now? Housing, shelter, clothing, and transportation. Those are the main things that are the most important during times of financial. Maybe you're unemployed. Uh, the biggest thing I can say and encourage you guys is don't take out payday loans. Those things are just horrible. You will pay more in interest. Don't charge a whole bunch on your credit cards or draw up a HELOC. Just trust that God will provide for your needs. A lot of times people will even use their credit cards to even go buy food at Burger King, and that's not what we want. So if you have an emergency fund right now, use that. This is the time that is the best to use that emergency fund. That's what they're there for. If you've had a financial loss, you've lost your job, or car work, auto repairs, house repairs, or medical, that is what emergency funds are for. If you don't have an emergency fund, I encourage you, when things kind of start getting settled, begin to build that emergency fund. Several years ago, I didn't have one. I was using credit cards. I was going to my dad all the time. And finally, I had to learn that financial responsibility to have a financial backup, that emergency fund for that. Um, I know a lot of people right now are getting their stimulus checks, so that's a great opportunity. If you are in a place where you're a little bit more financially stable, put those checks in regards to into emergency fund. A lot of people also are using those stimulus checks to help people. If you are stable, help those that are in need right now. I know that I've been trying to reach out and what I can to help others. Something that you may know of, but it's a great resource, is called 211. There's so many resources out there in regards to your electricity and power and water and your like your gas bill. A lot of them are not shutting them off. So do know that. Work with them, call them. It's so important. The biggest thing, you have to call them and they will work with you. But these are a few of the things that have helped me over the last couple years, or just some of the tips that I have. But like I said, keep a prayer journal. It's so fun to see how God, just reflecting back, how God provides. Trust that God will provide for you. Meditate on Bible verses on faith and trust and peace in regard, instead of anxiety and fears and worries. But if you're unable to manage your anxiety, I do encourage you, reach out to a counselor. If you are struggling with suicidal thoughts, please reach out to a suicidal hotline. They are there to talk to you. They're they're there to process kind of that fear and anxiety or just those thoughts. I do share in regards to my blog. Like I said, this is all up on my website, www.lisahice.com. I include a ton of resources again on here. It's just some really great Bible verses, a ton of books that are helpful during this time. Find some financial books, just some books on peace and trusting God. I also even encourage you guys with some really great songs on miracles of how God provides in regards to miracles and like times of unknown. So if you get a chance, head over to my website, www.lisahice.com. Feel free to check it out. Feel free to share with others. Hit like, follow, subscribe. But these are just a couple of the things that I wanted to share with you guys in regards to your finances. So head over to the website, check it out, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.